Hi, welcome to Small Town Big Picture, our civic local news channel. My name is Amy Harbour. I'm a longtime Summerland resident and also the current president of the Summerland Society for Civic Engagement. I was inspired to start this channel by citizen-led initiatives from across this country and also independent journalists who are making a real impact. And this channel combines the two. So we want to encourage local dialogue on important issues. I will be sharing local highlights and municipal news, policies, facts, and figures in our small town. I'll be covering how these local issues impact our residents and especially taxpayers. And I'll be describing what the Society for Civic Engagement is doing about it, and also describe different ways that local people can have an impact, such as on surveys or different engagement opportunities on the issue. And lastly, I'll be taking a step back to fit the local story into the bigger picture, either provincial or federal, the context of what's happening regionally, and address how these issues can be the bigger issues can actually be tackled at a local level. We decided to launch our first episode during Property Taxes Week. And so at the same time, the council has just released its 2024 financial statement of financial information. It was raised at the last council meeting. It happens to coincide. And of particular interest, you'll see that there are several third-party consultant contracts, one of which is with Urban Systems for a contract worth $1 million in just 2024. There are other consultant companies listed here, but it's difficult to determine their names. There's one that's called RC Strategies. Its contract is for $85,000. But interestingly, on the agenda for next week's council meeting, there's a motion to set the rent amount for Urban Systems to rent a room in the basement of City Hall. So I found this puzzling. The question is, why? So there is an impact of these kinds of costs on our local taxpayers. Municipal Hall was full of people paying their taxes. People were splitting the cost onto two different cards. Surprised by the amount actually exceeds bank card limits. So they're going up every year. Here's the trend. Property taxes increasing by percentage. 2021 went up by 1.6%, 2022 4%, 2023 is up. The upward trend is not being addressed by council. We have no plans to address this, these year-over-year rate hikes. And so part of these, we're looking for ways that we can trim costs. Part of these costs are $1 million contracts to outside consultant agencies. And so they're becoming the rule rather than the exception. These aren't just one-offs, they're year over year. And the thing is, it's not reducing it isn't reducing the municipal salaries. So what is the call to action? Well, the Summerland Society for Civic Engagement has been looking at the budget. Back in the fall of 2024, we held a town hall. We listened to residents who are very concerned about these upward costs. We collected the comments. We sent a delegation to council to ask them to take a second look at the budget, find ways to save. They didn't do that. They passed the budget. And what they did say is that the budget is a year-long process and that policies that create these budget lines are happening all year long. So that's what we're doing here. We are keeping a close eye on the budget. We're planning on holding another town hall later this summer. But in the meantime, I decided I needed more information about these consultant contracts. So I've submitted an FOI, Freedom of Information request, for the years of 2022 through 2024. What has been the total cost? A list of consultant companies contracted or procured for the district. Please list the consultant and the purpose and the department with the cost. Please also summarize the total cost per year. The district declined to file this FOI. Here's their response. To produce the compiled information that you're seeking would be too much work. It would unreasonably interfere with the operations. It would have a detrimental impact. Please resubmit it with different wording. So I did that. I attempted to reword and simplify my first request in an attempt to obtain some more information, but I have yet to hear back. So the question is why, and what does this mean in the big picture? Well, all levels of government are using management and planning consultants to complete their strategic reports, plans, and analysis in the running of government. These costs are not reducing staffing levels or producing savings. In fact, they're going upward at the same time. And in fact, it appears like it's another layer of government, and it's actually $1 billion industry. Well, in 2021, it was a $15 billion. But here, the parliamentary budget officer shined a light on it in 2023, saying it's time for a deep dive into the workings of the public service. And why is this costing, why are the rates going up at the same time as there's a record number of increase in employees? Here, 2023, so 16.4 billion. And yeah, it's only going up. So in 2023, a report by 2 university professors in Eastern Canada delved into the increased use of consultants throughout government, and it had some interesting findings. There's been remarkable growth in the management consultancy in the public sector. And the question is why? If you ask a different discipline, you get a different answer. There remains debate over exactly how much influence they hold over governments, but they are involved in all stages of policymaking. So it's really becoming the norm, and that there needs to be some oversight. With our own local government, we should be asking, why is there such a reliance upon outside consultants in a town of 12,000 people? What policies are driving the need for so many outside plans and reports and analysis? Is our council relying upon these paid experts to justify policy rather than looking to their constituents for direction? And the bottom line is that we can't afford this anymore. It's time to measure the value and address the cost. So, in conclusion, this property tax week, these are big issues to tackle. But remember that one person can make a difference, one issue at a time, one step at a time. And please leave your comments and ideas on this topic. This has been your Summerland Civic Update, where we organize information to help inform your viewpoint. From Small Town Big Picture, please like and subscribe.